What's up, YouTube? Got a budget banger for you guys today. It is the Civivi Altus. It's a button lock. I can't speak. A button lock in Nitro V. Typical Civivi geometry, so it's going to slice very, very well. Great blade shape. Looks good. The action of this knife is about as good as you can do a button lock. It's a fidgeter's dream. If you like to fidget, you'll love this thing. But it's also a very, very usable knife. As where a lot of fidget knives are just fidget knives, this thing is actually a great knife and a good fidgeter. These cabochon wood scales, which is like a impregnated laminate, I guess. Real tough stuff, actually. Full liners. Your typical plunge lock, but again, very well done. Typical Civivi pocket clip. You know, it's got dual thumb studs, so it thumb flicks and reverse flicks very nicely. And again, that plunge lock is very well done. This thing is rock solid. What I like the best about it is just the geometry. This thing is a slicer. You got a nice tall flat section. Comes down to about probably 16, 17 thousandths behind the edge. So it's going to eat up some cardboard for you. Civivi does a really good job on their Nitro V. It takes a very, very nice edge and holds it reasonably well. It does good toothy or polished, doesn't really matter, kind of whatever you want. I prefer around 1,000 to 2,000 grit. Don't really like taking it much more than that, just because I don't want to lose, much bite in the knife. It really is a great knife. The Altus is a good design. I don't know who designed this knife, but they did a good job. It's typical Civivi quality. So excellent. You can get these things for around $60 to $70, and it just makes a hell of a pocket knife for that. If there's anything that I have to complain about on this knife, and I still don't understand why companies do this, the plunge is terrible. This one I've knocked a little choil in to get me away from that edge, away from that plunge, so I don't get a smile. But I don't understand how companies are still doing bad plunge grinds. It's like they don't expect us to sharpen the knives. That's kind of where it's at. They expect the knives aren't going to be used; they're going to be played with. They'll never get sharpened, and it's totally fine to do shitty plunge grinds. And I personally think that's not cool. It's not that hard. It wouldn't be that hard for the factory to just pull that edge out. Excuse me. Knock a little choil right here and bring that edge out to right there. And then guess what? You're not going to have to worry about getting a smile or it getting nasty looking back here, or running into the plunge with your stones. But instead they just don't do it, and then you have to do it. And I mean, yeah, it's not very hard to do, but it's just not as aesthetically pleasing when it's done, when you're having to do it. This should be coated, and now it's not, because I had to grind it off. But it should be done from the factory. I really don't understand how companies, with as much as is talked about, still do bad plunge grinds. And QSP is the ultimate offender. Theirs are the worst by far. Perfect example is Parrot. Look at that. And that come on, man, that's just terrible. It's got a smile from the factory. Like, I don't understand how these companies are still doing these plunges like this. It's ridiculous. It needs to stop. Everybody needs to start complaining about it, because, I mean, we buy knives as tools to use to cut, And guess what? Knives go dull. And when they go dull, you have to sharpen them. And if the plunge is done like that, within 1 or 2 sharpenings, you're going to be way up on the plunge. It's going to look terrible. It's just annoying. And if I had, literally, I mean, for $70, considering that's my only complaint, yeah, this tells you it's a great knife, but that they need to do something about that. It's foolish. Whoever designs knives, they need to automatically take that into account. And if the designer don't take it into account, then whoever's making the knife needs to do it for them, because it's just stupid. Anyhow, if you're familiar with Civivi Nitro V, you'll know that it's done quite well. The performance of it is really strong. You get very good toughness, very good stainlessness, reasonable edge retention, and super, super easy touch-ups, be it on a ceramic rod or a strop. The edge just comes back so easily. With a diamond strop, you can bring this stuff back from crazy dull. So that's a huge plus of it for people. If the strop won't bring it back, a couple passes on a ceramic rod almost will do it. Just put a little micro bevel on it and you're right back in action. Yeah, you really can't beat these knives. As a user, they're great. Y'all should definitely check out the Altus. It's a great knife. It's super comfortable in hand. If you have XL hands, you can really get up on that blade choked up. You're close to the edge, but you're still safe. You still got plenty of grip. Holding it in this configuration here, you're still good. You still got a full four finger grip. You got jimping up here, but it's not very sharp jimping, so it doesn't really grab that well. You will slip on it a little bit, but you're locked in. You're not gonna have any issues with grip on this knife. I do wish that the blade wasn't coated. I really don't care about PVD on. If it's a highly stainless steel, putting PVD on is just silly, in my opinion. This would perform much better in a satin, because that no matter how much people think it don't matter, that PVD definitely causes increased friction when you're cutting, causes it to stick. Just don't cut as nicely. Like a nice stone wash or anything but a bead blast, and I would prefer it over this PVD. But on a good note, the PVD is done well and it does hold up very well. So, if you like coated blades, good. If you don't, I get you. And again, we'll go back to Civivi's plunge lock. CJRB and Civivi have really gotten the plunge lock down pat, and they did it, really quickly. Or when button locks first got hot, both of these guys, they dialed the plunge lock in really well. These knives are rock solid. There's absolutely no blade play. There's a teeny bit of button stick, but I like it, because when I've got that tiny bit of button stick, that lock's secure. All Civivis are like that, and that little teeny bit of button stick is a good thing, in my opinion. Plus, it kind of makes it have a tactile feel as you feel the click. Past that, I really don't have no complaints about the knife. The value is good. Nitro V is done well. The quality control is great. The build quality is great. Fit and finish is great. For $60-$70, you really can't get better. There may be better models, but you're not getting better quality, is what I'm getting at. Civivi really they have broken the code. They figured out how to make a damn fine $50-$60 knife, and this right here is result of that. If you're looking for a full-size button lock, you know, that still isn't overly large, carries nicely, but still gives you, you know, basically full-size knife functionality, the Altus is that. Like, you've got, you know, basically full-size blade. You got edge all the way, you know, basically all the way to the scales. Full 4-finger grip. And, you know, a compact and reasonably lightweight knife. The Civivi Altus really is. It's a banger. The only knife that I think makes a better work knife is the Paraxis. I'm talking about from Civivi. It's either this one or the Paraxis is what I would consider to be the best work knife they make. So, anyways, y'all check one out. I believe you'll enjoy it. They're a good looking knife. There's nothing to dislike about this knife other than, you know, it's China made, if that bothers you. Anyhow, go grab you one. You can get them at Amazon. They're priced well. And again, I have no doubt you'll enjoy it. All right, guys. It was nice talking to y'all, and I'll see you later.